So today, interestingly, after one particular session of Golden Vibe, one person, let's call him Tom, he stopped smoking. Okay, so that was an
Oh,
interesting first time that somebody has shared that kind of a success story. And so I've asked Tom, okay, what really happened? So Tom's Golden Vibe was around this dialogue that he was having. uh, that I'm capable, I'm not capable. That was the dialogue within his mind which was happening because way back in his childhood, one particular incident was he had got some very, really bad grades, and he goes home, and his mother, his grandmother, and all of them are kind of talking to him, and the message he's really getting is I'm not capable, right? So the high points for him in his life really has been when his clients and others kind of compliment him and say, "Yeah, you've done a good job." Then he kind of proves to himself that I'm capable. And his whole mission is really how do I make others capable, right? When he makes others capable, he really, really gets that sense of fulfillment. So I asked him, okay, what really happened? How come you stopped smoking? So after the Golden Vibe session, he was driving back home, and since he was a smoking addict, he started moving towards the joint, the shop where he normally bought cigarettes. And while he was, auto reaction, right? He was kind of going towards the shop, and then he notices himself saying, "I'm not capable of stopping to smoke." So that's the dialogue. He observes that he's saying that to himself, that I'm not capable, and therefore I cannot stop smoking. And the moment he observes that, he tells himself, no, I am capable. Okay, so I am capable of stopping. And the moment he changes the dialogue, he says, okay, I don't need to go to the shop. And he changes directions and he says, I've stopped smoking from then on. Okay, so it was kind of very interesting how the golden vibe, how profound observing your emotions is and being present to what this key emotion is all about. And it kind of, so it is essentially, there is a dialogue happening within our mind. And and in the Golden Web session, I talked about these two voices, right? There is an emotional side of the brain, and there is another side of the brain which is has the logic, has the vocabulary, has reasoning, and so on and so forth. And essentially, it's this dialogue which is happening, and the reason why we want the golden vibe exercise to happen is so that the two sides of the brain get aligned. They are able to converse with each other. They are able to talk to each other, like it happened for Tom. The two sides of the brain started understanding each other, and therefore they were able to have a dialogue. So this incident reminded me of another way of explaining this, and I highly recommend this book. It's called Switch: How to Change Things When Change is Hard. Okay, Chip and Danny, awesome, awesome, awesome book. So if you want any change, any behavior, you can actually pick some tips from there. So Chip and Dan Heath, they kind of talk about this same concept in terms of there are two parts of the brain, broadly speaking. One part of the brain is about emotions, and the other part is the logic and reasoning and so on. The early part is intuitive. It's very intuitive. The emotional part of the brain is very intuitive. It is very reactive. Uh, but the logical side of the brain is more conscious. You are able to verbalize it. You are able to think about it and so on. And he puts it in this way: the emotional side of the brain, he calls it the elephant, and the logical side of the brain, he calls it the rider. So think about the elephant and the rider. Okay, and so that's a nice paradigm, because if the elephant wants to do something and it's made up its mind, whatever the rider does, it's impossible to stop the elephant, right? So that's the whole paradigm. So unless the emotional side of the brain is kind of soothed or kind of heard, understood, the rider just cannot do anything, even if it wants to. So that's the idea that he brings in. And so the insight, so combining the golden vibe, the elephant and rider kind of paradigm, is how important it is for you to be present to your feelings, become an observer of your feelings, and acknowledge it and kind of just accept it. Right? Just acknowledge it. That's the key start. Because once you acknowledge it, then internally you can have a dialogue. And like Tom did, he said, no, no, it's not about not being capable. I can actually be capable. Right? So let's be capable. So if you are a rider and you have that dialogue with your elephant, the rider can convince the elephant that yes, you can be something else. And that's really is otherwise, if you're not having a dialogue with your elephant, then the elephant will just charge ahead and do whatever it wants. And later we might be regretting why this happened. Okay, so that was a small insight about alignment and the internal voice and the elephant and the rider that I wanted to share today. Thanks, Vignesh.